Hey, VCTC here, and this is going to be my official entry into Robert Zee's 2022 lottery. And he asked us this year to talk about ourselves as collectors. And I've been thinking about this and wondering what the hell I was going to do. And by the way, Robert, this is about as green as I got right now, but I do have green on. Um, Me as a collector, it's a very, very eclectic road. I have a show called Influencers. I talked about this on it a couple weeks ago. But my mom was a big influence in my life when it came to collecting. She had records. She gave me a little record player when I was 3, and I had my own records. Um, I first got into collecting because, weirdly enough, as a child, I was diagnosed as immune deficient, so I had to go every 6 weeks for 2 years. I had to have a gamma globulin shot. I don't know if they still do that or not. But if I went in, I didn't make a fuss when I got the shot, Mom would buy me a record as a treat. So that's how I got started. I mean, I got total crap. I don't remember, outside of an Al Martino single and a Wayne Newton single, I don't remember what I bought. Sometimes I bought kiddie records. You know, I was a kid. I was 3 and 4 or 5 years old. But I was into music. Mom always had the radio on, and so I was always into music from very, very young. As you can see, this is most of the albums. There's some newer ones over on the other shelf that I'm not going to turn around. I'm not going to show you my room because it's just shit, okay? I still haven't finished the music room because it's a studio and a music room. But over there is some of my newer albums, my radio transcriptions, and my chart books. Back here are my albums, and my 45s, except for the ones I bought recently, are in the closet in storage drawers. And I'll have them all out eventually. My CDs are in there too. But I've doubled my collection since becoming a part of the VC. I had 600 some albums when I was first in because I stopped buying physical media around 2000. Because number one, I didn't have any space for it. Number two, Amazon made it super easy and iTunes made it super easy to buy digital. So I have, 500,000 digital files on my computer. And some of that is, what I've digitized, and also a lot of it's bought. I don't have a problem with digital music. Music for me as a collector is music. I don't have to have an audiophile record. I do prefer that you can be able to listen to the record, and the better the condition is better. But if I can get a G plus copy of something that's way more expensive as a VG or new, I'll do it because I want to hear the music and I can always digitize and clean it up later. Um, Me as a collector, I'm into all forms of music, and I'm pretty much all genre, although I lean pop for most part. Um, are there specific? There was so much in Robert's video. I'm just going to pick and choose and cherry pick some stuff that I wanted to talk about. Do I collect any specific things? Yes. I like everything, but I do have some things I specifically collect. I collect actors who sing. Sometimes well, sometimes badly. I collect teen idols. Tiger Beat style teen idols from the 70s and 80s. Um, I collect television soundtrack themes, like full albums by artists who did a television theme. And most recently, I started to collect stuff connected to Eurovision. Um, I have everything else in my collection, but I do have those kind of things. Um, I'm not a terrible completist, although I do like to have most of the albums by the artists I really like. Um, I have the first 10 or 12 Barry Manilow albums. I have all the Carpenter stuff that was released in its original form. I don't have the compilations and stuff, but I do have the original albums. Um, Most of it is on vinyl, but I have some on CD and I have some on digital. Um, I'm not really a completist in that way. I don't have to have every single that's out there. Um, the one exception I've found is the one that probably sets me apart from most of the VC, and that is the one concerning this band, Hanson. I am probably the biggest Hanson fan in the VC, and the reason is that I have loved their music from day one. What most of the VC can't get past is what most of the public can't get past. They are more than just bop. They have been more than bop for 25 freaking years, but people only associate that one song with them, and so they don't listen to later stuff. And you're missing out, man. You are really missing out if you haven't heard it. They're doing a new album. They have a new album, Green, Red, Green, Blue, whatever it's called, coming out in May. 5 songs from Taylor, 5 songs from Ike, 5 songs from Zach, written by each member, separately recorded by each member. It's kind of like a solo collection. It's going to be really awesome. I don't say that everything they do is perfect, but I have all their albums, and I don't have the first 2 because they're really hard to come by, the demo ones, but I have all their commercially released albums. I have all the fan club stuff. Card carrying member of the fan club since 2003, and I'm not ashamed to admit that or push it to people, because I think Hanson is an act that deserves more attention than they get, especially from general rock fans, because, I mean, even the Village Voice called them the face of indie rock music in America back in 2009. How can you go wrong with that? Anyway, I don't want to obsess on that, but they are one of my main parts of my collection. Since 2016, I've kind of been obsessed with Eurovision. That's when it first aired in America. Now, Eurovision is about the spectacle. It's about the kitsch, as much as it is about the songs. But people voting today on Eurovision are voting for popularity. You know, there's a lot of crap that has been in the top 10 in Eurovision the last few years. And it's because the band is popular, or, oh my God, they're edgy. Sometimes a really good song will win. Other times, a real crap song will win. You know, it's just really a crapshoot anymore. But I love the spectacle, and I'm glad to see it coming to America in the form of the American Song Contest, which is the officially licensed Eurovision product in America. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I have a lot of fun talking about Eurovision to my friends and my family. Kim gets obsessed. She can't stand listening to me because I get obsessed with Eurovision from about now till it happens in May. When all the songs are released, I still have 2 more songs that are coming out. And then when they're all released, I'll listen to them and start judging them and grading them and talking about them. But right now, I'm not doing that. I'm pushing the American Song Contest because it starts next Monday as I'm recording this, and I want to see it succeed. You have to enjoy the kitsch, and I do. I love pop stuff. I love the way things go. So it should be fun to see. Equipment-wise, I don't have what I used to have. I have a very nice $600 Marantz turntable in storage. It's been in storage for quite a while. Right now I have a little Sony with Bluetooth, and I have a cassette deck and a new I did get a new amplifier, and I have a CD player somewhere that I know it's here, but I haven't found it yet. It's still packed, and even though we've been here 5 years, there's still stuff in boxes. That I'm going to hook up with the stereo eventually. I got a new good pair of Edifer bookshelf speakers. And I will be doing more and more with my music on the site and on my shows. The artists that have influenced me, I've talked about on my show, influencers, but I do collect a lot of them. I have a lot of Barry Manilow. I have a lot of Carpenters. I have all the Starland Vocal Band stuff, which people were like, Starland Vocal Band. To each his own. I'm not a big Bob Dylan fan. I'm not a big Beatles fan. I'm not a big fan of a lot of the acts that the BC loves. I'm a completely different noodle. I love beautiful music and lounge music. I love pop music. I love soundtracks. I love a little bit of everything, and I collect a little bit of everything. I collect radio transcriptions because radio has been a big part of my life. Radio was my getaway. Whenever, wherever we were, whether it was just listening to regular pop radio, listening to beautiful music stations with my mom, or at night when I was sleeping, I would leave those on. Um, or Top 40 radio, which is where I usually gravitated for, which is why I became a chart fanatic thanks to American Top 40. I don't listen to it anymore. I have this thing about not really liking Ryan Seacrest in anything he does, but um, Casey Kasem, Shadow Stevens, terrific. There was an old show in the early mid 70s for a couple of years called Music Scene USA with Wink Martindale that I'd love to get copies of if I could find it. It was an AC version of AT40. Um, I have some other stuff, and I have the Whitburn, most of the Whitburn collection of chart books from Billboard, Cashbox, Record World, and Radio and Records, and I use those for information and stuff on the stuff that I do. I'm a chart fanatic. I love charts. I have my own charts for years, which I've talked about on my shows too. Um, I collect what I love. I don't buy a lot of stuff I don't like just to collect it. I do a few things that I bought to have on my chart because I had a rule when I did my charts in the 70s, 80s, and early 90s that I had to own it to have it on the chart. And so, just to make sure the song was on the chart, I would buy the single. Um, I don't do that. I get the digital file now. It makes it a lot easier and a lot cheaper. Um, and I will eventually get the charts back up and running. I'm determined to do that. I love my charts, and I'd love to do a countdown show of some sort. My mindset as a collector is I try to keep it nice. I don't I don't sneer at condition. I would love perfect copies of everything, but I know that's not going to happen. Some of my sleeves are really crap and their albums aren't the best, but I've replaced a lot of those with newer copies that sound good. And, especially the ones I had when I was a little kid, like the early Carpenter stuff, the Partridge Family. Um, those I've replaced with better copies or digital over the years. But I do prefer, I won't go out of my way to turn something down if it's listenable. Oh, excuse me. In that, I think I'm like Steve, my friend at Value Vinyl. We both listen to everything. We both love everything. I'm not a big fan of opera. I don't have a lot of opera. I don't have a lot of classical, although I do quite like some classical stuff. And I have a lot of new age and soundtracks and scores that I love. Light jazz. I'm not into the heavy jazz like Miles Davis or those guys. I like smooth jazz, pop jazz like Herb Alpert, Kenny G, um, Larry Carlton, stuff like that. And Craig Chacaso, who can do no wrong as far as I'm concerned. Love his stuff, new age and jazz stuff. Um, I do a little bit of everything. Collecting, since getting back in and since finding the VC, um, I have gotten back into collecting in a big way. And I many times will collect just to collect. I'll just buy it. I shouldn't do that. I've got only so much space, but and only so much time to listen to it all. I've been buying stuff for 18 months, 20 months now that I've still not listened to. I haven't gotten to it. I don't have the time. But it was getting back into the VC that helped me get through the pandemic. I wish I would have found it a lot sooner. And I found it quite accidentally. I just went and Googled CD drawers. I was looking for, because I keep my CD in envelopes. I don't use the jewel cases anymore. I've taken all that out and put it in a little envelope and I keep it. And I was looking for CD drawers and I stumbled upon a video from Frank over at Channel 33. And I wrote to him. We had a little correspondence and I started looking around a little bit more. I'm like, what is this vinyl community I'm seeing here? And got hopelessly hooked on it. So I got so hopelessly hooked that I dived into it, and now I'm part of it. So that's a little weird. I've been influenced by a lot of people in the VC, and I'm hoping to influence those who watch me. Hanson, Eurovision. Um, I learn the most from the people who have the most eclectic tastes. Steve Carlson. I actually picked up an album he recommended. It's up there. I showed it a few weeks ago. It's a Swedish band. Um, Checked out more Gordon Lightfoot thanks to Chris Profi, Musically Obsessed. I've really started in earnest in getting the earlier Herb Alpert Tijuana Brass stuff, thanks also largely to Chris Profi and Steve over at Value Vinyl. Um, I think that as a collector, it's the music that matters, not the media. And that bothers me about some people, and I've talked about this on the Kirkham Report. People who completely refuse to look at digital music are missing so much. They really are. So many of today's artists only do digital. And so if you don't listen to digital music, you are missing the wonderful music of artists like Luke Matrani and Daddy Fryer and to some extent Sawyer Fredericks, although he does have physical media out there. Um, I find that to be a very backward, almost asinine attitude because there's so much out there that is digital only that you will never hear. And I feel bad for you. I feel sad that you are that close-minded to the digital media that you won't find it in yourself to listen to these artists that don't do vinyl, that don't do cassettes, that don't do CDs. I think that's just very narrow-minded. I've never subscribed to that bullshit, and I never will. Music is music. It doesn't matter what medium it comes on. The music is what matters. Since it's me, I gotta say it. Quote from Eddie in Empire Records. Music is the glue of the world, Mark. It holds it all together. Without it, life would be meaningless. Yeah, how true that is. That's wicked true. I go through all different acts. I do pop stuff. I do some country acts. I have a lot of Dolly Parton. I am not a big, overwhelming heavy metal fan. That's my wife. That's my wife's department. She loves it. But I am an unabashed Def Leppard fan and have been from day one. And I continue to buy their stuff and love their, other metal acts from around that same era. Um, but mostly, like I said, I'm pop oriented. I like, I would, if I was running a radio station, you'd find a little bit of everything on it. In fact, I did when I was working for discjockey.com, which was on the air from 1998 to 2000. Um, I would mix and match things. Rich and I, my boss, the late great Rich Chadwick, and I used to get into some arguments because he wanted it to sound like traditional radio, and I wanted to move outside the box. And what we did together worked magic, and I wish that it had been able to last. Thank you so much, Lars Ulrich. There is a place for digital, and there is a place for a little bit of everything else, and it's okay to collect all of it. Collecting music, whatever the medium, is what I'm into. So I'm going to have digital, I'm going to have vinyl, I'm going to have CD, I have even have a few cassettes. God help me, I even have a few 8-tracks laying around. But I think that everybody has their own taste in music. Everybody has their own style. I know some people are deep into the, $2,000 turntables and the $1,000 cartridges. I don't have the money to invest in that. I do the best I can with what I have. I had a little discussion about that with Melinda Murphy through her comment section a few weeks ago when she was showing off her beautiful equipment, and I'm like, man, I don't have the money for this. It's great, but I don't have the money for this. It's a very good, and I'm very happy with what I have. That's what's important. And it's another area that the VC sometimes gets a little sniffy nose out of joint about. Love what you have musically, equipment wise. If all you can do is a Crosley suitcase, it isn't going to be the best thing on your records, but if it's a starting point, what's the big deal? I started with a little tiny blue GE kiddie player when I was 3. Now I have a nice big stereo setup, and I have had a big stereo setup since I was a teenager. It's an entry point. That's what matters. Getting them interested and keeping them here. The one thing that's been really terrible about collecting is the continuously rising prices. I mean, in all fairness, I did see a video, and I'm sorry, I've forgotten who did it, who pointed out, quite rightly, that a lot of the price rises on some of them have pretty much been right in line with inflation over the years. That the $22 to $25 price point for a single album these days is probably about right for where we are in 2022. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. I do have a problem when something I don't think is worth a lot is being hawked for record store day at $46.99. Double record set or not, it isn't worth that. I'm not going to say which one it is. I already talked about it on the show Katie from Vintage and Vinyl and I did. So if you haven't seen it, go ahead and look at that. One of the best things about collecting is being a part of the VC. I've never been so frustrated, and I've never enjoyed being around other musical fans so much. I've met so many people. I've watched so many great videos. I've made so many new friends in the last year and a half, thanks to the vinyl community. And from everybody, from Rachel with her endless daily talk show streams to people who only post videos like once a month sometimes that are really fun to watch when they do. Weston Winkle, I'm talking about you. They are, it's a great feeling to be a part of a community that has an equal love. Everybody loves stuff differently. Everybody collects differently. I'm no different. I collect differently than everybody else. I am the odd man out for the most part in the VC. The only one who might beat me is Steve at Value Vinyl. And he's damn close. But I enjoy being a part of the VC. It's brought out a new side of me that I haven't seen for a long time. And I'm happy not only to be entering Robert's lottery, I'm also a volunteer again this year. I was last year too. Because it's a great cause. I'd love to win. As a collector, I would love to win. But as a VC member also, I'd love to give something to somebody else. Unfortunately, I never seem to get the right damn letter so I can give some Hanson out. Honestly, Robert, you never give me the right letter. But other people have benefited from that. See Chris Prophy. The way I feel about music is the way I feel about life. If you don't love what you're doing, if you don't love what you're listening to, you're not going to love anything. Like your collection, be happy with it. Do it the way you feel comfortable with it. Don't let people push you around. Don't let people shove you aside and say, that's wrong. That's not how to do it. Because it is for you. That's how I do things, for me. Like Robert Zee says, there's stuff he drops, stuff drives him crazy. Probably wouldn't affect me, and stuff I do will probably make him nuts. Robert, sorry about that, but it's the way I do it. And it's the reason I love being a part of the VC. I hope everyone enjoys the lottery this year. I hope I get to win, but if I don't, you'll be hearing from me as one of the volunteers. And let's all have fun. That's the important thing. Collecting needs to be fun. If you're not having fun collecting anymore, you're doing something wrong. Because collecting is supposed to be fun. And I can tell you all the way around the board for all of the stuff I have here, my books and my records and my music and my radio transcriptions, my pop music, my soul opera album, from artist to artist, from whatever I listen to. It's what I want. and I love it. Robert, thanks for the great lottery. Another shot of my green. Good luck, everybody. We'll see you soon. I'm TC Kirkham, the Kirkham Report. Ciao, baby.